So hello everyone. In this video, we'll be seeing this UGC NET paper 1 tips and tricks. So paper 1 you all know is a common paper which is there for the UGC NET examination, which is based on teaching and research aptitude. And paper 2 is talking about a specific topic which is related to your subject. For example, law will be there, sociology will be there, etc. So in this video, we'll be seeing about UGC NET paper 1 tips and tricks. And this is in continuation of the videos which have been there in the Dharmapeetam YouTube channel. So with this particular thing, we will proceed forward. And before that, let me introduce myself. I am BHAGAVATULA NAGA SRIRAM. So I have qualified UGC NET law examination and AP set law examination in the year 2024. And I am also a gold medalist at DSNLU Vizag. So with this background, let us now try to move and see this particular what are the syllabus of UGC NET paper 1. So essentially it is having 10 different units with regards to UGC NET. So the first unit is related to teaching aptitude. Second is related to research aptitude. Third is dealing with communication. Fourth is dealing with comprehension. Fifth is related to mathematical reasoning and research aptitude. Sorry, mathematical reasoning and aptitude. Sixth is dealing with logical reasoning. Seventh is related to data interpretation. Eighth is related to ICT, that is known as information and communication technology. Ninth is related to this particular people development and environment. 10th is related to this particular higher education system with respect to India, and also the how the higher education has developed. Now what we will see is this particular thing. Essentially UGC net is structured around this particular 150 questions will be there, and the examination will be for 300 marks. So what is the maximum score you can score in this particular UGC net paper 1 is the 100 marks. That means 50 questions will be there in paper 1, that is a common paper for all, and 100 questions will be there in your subject specialization, that is your law subject, as this case may be, that is your specialized stream. So out of 150 questions, this particular teaching aptitude, the paper 1 carries 50 questions. So you need to score a minimum of 80 to 90 marks. So in this particular unit, we will try to see what are the types of the tips and strategies or the important areas to focus to score a sub the 80 to 90 score in this particular paper, so that you can qualify for the JRF or the assistant professorship or the PhD, as the case may be, as the cutoff varies, and now it is going high as the year by year, right? So now these are this particular thing, this particular video is based on unit wise this particular important topics or the concepts to focus. And one disclaimer I would like to give is that this is based on the pattern which is there in the previous MCQs and also previous multiple choice questions what we have analyzed, and also based on the trend which we have observed in the past year question paper. So this is not a guarantee that these topics only will be coming, but when you are starting or when you are finalizing your preparation, this checklist you should be knowing, so that you can score well for your paper 1 examination of UGC net. So now let us now move on to the unit 1. Now unit by unit we will try to see what is the different type of things which you need to see. Unit 1, as we told earlier, is talking about teaching aptitude. So this is the most predictable part and also most scoring part. So out of which some of the important topics I would like to highlight. The first one is related to levels of teaching. So what are the different levels of teaching? Previously the videos in Dharmapeetam channel also is having certain type of videos related to this in the form of MCQs and everything. So let me just try to give you a summary of what are the different types of levels of teaching. Out of it, the first one is the memory level teaching, which is based on the rote learning facts. The second one is related to the understanding level. The next one is related to the reflective level. So rote learning is related to the memory level. Next, grasping the concept is related to the understanding level, and the critical thinking part is related to the reflective level of teaching, right? So these are the different levels of teaching which is already there. Okay, so let us try to understand with examples what is related to this memory level. So if a student memorizes the elements of a crime, for example, if you take the element of theft requires taking or carrying away the property of another with an intention to permanently deprive. So this is all related to the memorizing. If a student is asked to give what is the definition of this particular a crime, that is a theft, or what is the definition of a murder, so this is related to the memory level of this particular teaching what is there. Next one is understanding level. In this particular concept, the student explains the difference between theft and embezzlement and larceny using the examples of how to differentiate between the intent and position, which differs in each of this particular case. Next one is reflective level. This is talking about students analyze a complex scenario, for example a drone delivering a contraband, and debate whether the current statutes adequately cover the new technology. So this is all different levels of teaching. Based on this, you can just substantiate yourself, and then you may refer to following any kind of sources. So what are the different levels of teaching? Essentially three levels of teaching will be there: memory level, understanding level, and reflective level of teaching, right? So the next important concept is related to the learner characteristics, in which adult learners individual differences, motivation, etc. will be there. So what adult learners will be listening, and also what is the difference between the individual differences of between person to person, in this case the student, what kind of differences will be there with respect to the learning, and also what is the motivation, what motivates the student to study well for their examinations. Everything will also be have to be focused in this particular unit. This is also one of the important concept. The next one is related to the teaching methods. So teaching methods means how the teacher, this particular strategies how he will use. For example, now I am communicating something to you, what strategy I am delivering to you. So that type of thing is particularly related to this particular unit. So what educators will use to deliver the content, and it will be categorized into two branches. The first category is related to the teacher centered, second category is related to the student centered. Teacher centered means it is based on the lectures or demonstrations, which is the, this particular thing is entirely based on the teacher. The student centered is based on this particular discussions or any kind of project based learning or inquiry based. It is related to the student part. Now what I am delivering right now, or a lecture what I am giving right now, is completely focused on myself, because I am the only one who is talking to you. So this is a teacher based centric method. It is also known as traditional method. Out of which the first one, we, as we told, lecture means the teacher explains the concepts orally, as I am doing right now to you, and also efficient for large groups. And oh, for example this video has to reach a large section of people, then this method is suitable for this particular teaching. Next one is demonstration. Teacher shows how something works, keeping curiosity alive, often using visual aids. For example, now what I am delivering using a PowerPoint presentation and also using a video. So this is to make this particular topic more effective, and also to make this strategy more useful to you. So this is also known as demonstration. Now I am using a PowerPoint using this particular content what I am delivering to you, right? This is also one of the topic. Next one is student centered method. The first branch we have seen is teacher based method. Second one is related to the student centered methods. Out of is the first one is project based learning. As you might be knowing, in your college or the school days, maybe you will be given a certain project wherein you will work on different type of things, and you will research and you will present a solution. For example, if a student was given a topic of how to reduce the noise pollution or how to reduce the water pollution, as a group they will work together on this particular topic, they will research and they will come up with a solution. This is based on student, because the student has to research and then he has to come up with a solution. Next one is inquiry based learning. The student asks questions, investigate and discover answers with a teacher guidance. For example, you are having certain type of thing, you might be having a any kind of query and all, you will, rather than you approaching me or just asking me to deliver the content directly, with the guidance of the teacher, you yourself will inquire and you yourself will get a clarity of what should be there in this particular, what should be the probable answer to this particular thing. This is also one of the student centered method of teaching. Next one is flipped classroom. It is the method where the students learn the content at home, videos, readings and etc., and do the application or discussion in the class. For example, when it comes to the next unit, that is, and this particular research aptitude, I might give certain topics to you previously, some 30-40 page document to you, and then I'll ask you to read that particular thing, and tomorrow I will initiate a discussion saying, with these particular things now we can have a discussion, and the students, as they already know the content, it will be an extension of what they have read. So that is a flipped classroom. Next one is experiential learning or learning by doing. That means it is a practical application, like projects or real world problem solving. For example, you must be knowing drafting and pleading, so that whatever content you have studied and all, for example, if I ask you to draft a bail petition, or if I ask you to draft a petition for insolvency, like what you will be doing, that is based on experiential learning or learning by doing. You will also identify some of the nitty gritty, whatever that kind of thing it is there, and you will try to do that particular activity. So this is the teaching methods, the teacher centric methods, that is a traditional way, the modern methods, that is student centric methods. These are the following categories, right? The next one, what is the important topic in this particular unit 1 is related to evaluation systems. How well you will evaluate the student, that means how well you will assess the performance of a student. This is all very important. The first one is related to formative, that means during teaching for continuous feedback. For example, now as soon as after this video is there, I can ask you certain questions based on the quiz or any kind of thing, so as to evaluate whether you have actually understood this concept or not. Next one, summative. As you know, you will be writing several type of internal examinations, external examinations, like that. Mid semester, end semester, this is the best example. Mid semester means what you will be doing in between the semester. End semester can be termed as a summative at the end of the unit or at the end of the course for the finalization of the grades, right? So that is known as summative assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment. Next one is diagnostic, to identify the learner difficulty. For example, you are facing certain type of difficulty, and in order to assess that, I will be asking you certain type of this particular questions to you. I will be asking certain type of this particular problem statements or something like that, so as to understand what is the thing which is available to you and what a level you are facing these particular difficulties, right? The next one is criterion referenced. In this, comparing the performance to a set standard or criterion, that means whatever kind of performance is there, that criteria will be there. For example, if I have to qualify you for the examination, 40 percentage of the marks you need to obtain, that means 40 marks out of 100 you need to be there, and you are scoring only 35. In that case, what happens? Criterion referenced evaluation I will be doing, so as to understand your performance, right? The next one is continuous and comprehensive evaluation. It is also known as CCE. It is based on holistic development and not just academics. So it is based on this particular holistic development and not just based on academics. Okay, the next one is teaching objectives and Bloom's taxonomy. This is very, very important. The Bloom's taxonomy is a level, or this particular action verbs will be there in order to understand this particular what type of characteristics or what type of activities will be there on this particular topic. First one is the first level of Bloom's taxonomy is remembering. It is based on completely knowledge aspect, that is recalling the facts or terms, define, list, recall, etc. will be there. That means if I ask you to define what is a theft, as I explained earlier, or what is a murder, or what is the list of articles related to the Indian constitution with regard to the state autonomy, or you want to recall what is the provision or what is the distinction between statutory bail, or what is the differentiation between article 21 and article 23, this is all known as remembering or knowledge base. That is the first level of Bloom's taxonomy. Second one is related to understanding or the comprehension, the explaining the ideas or the concepts. For example, you understood this particular exact section, you will try to interpret that section and you will try to describe it. So that is the second level of Bloom's taxonomy. The next one is applying, that means using the knowledge in the new situations. That means you will be using that particular knowledge whatever you have there to solve, use, demonstrate. So that is the third level, that means applying. So remembering, understanding, applying. The next one is analyzing. Analyzing means breaking down the information, finding the relationship. For example, if I ask you to do a comparative analysis of the usage of artificial intelligence in India with a comparative analysis of that of Europe, so then what you will do, you will analyze the information what is available right now, and you will try to compare the features and analyze that particular information. That is the fourth level in Bloom's taxonomy. The next one is evaluation. Evaluation means making the judgments or critiques. Judge, critique, or assess. That means any kind of some social problems are there. Poverty is there in India, or any kind of some of the violence is being there against some of the marginalized communities. So now what you wanted to propose a solution means you will try to critically analyze the problem, you will try to come up with the solutions. That is the evaluation part. Creating part is mostly less with regard to the subjects like law, but it will be there for mostly application by, for example, scientific knowledge or whatever kind of thing is there, putting the elements to a new whole. That means designing, constructing, planning something. So you read a new chemical components and everything, you have analyzed everything, and finally you will try to create a new chemical based on what is already there. It is a synthesis of what is already you have studied. So these are all related to Bloom's taxonomy. So in this unit you need to focus levels of teaching. That is the first one, which is very important. Second one is learner characteristics. The next one is teaching methods. Next one is related to evaluation systems. Next one is teaching objectives and Bloom's taxonomy. Then now we'll move to unit 2. In unit 2, it is, the heading reads as research aptitude. It is mostly based on direct definitions and standard MCQs. So certain type of elements which you need to be knowing, and based on that particular this particular definitions or this particular concepts, you could be able to answer these questions. Out of it, the first one is types of research. What is the different types of research which could be there? Basic or applied research, quantitative or qualitative, exploratory or descriptive, experimental. So these are the different terminologies or the concepts which is there already. So by knowing these particular concepts, you will be able to answer the questions what will be asked in UGC NET examination. Now the time is limited, I can't explain everything, but quantitative qualitative means quantitative is based on this particular number. So you wanted to conduct a survey or whatever kind of the thing that will be there. Experimental means you will directly go and experiment on something like that. These are the different concepts which you need to see. Next one is related to sampling. Sampling means if you are conducting a particular first hand data, that is a quantitative aspect, that is also known as empirical research, not being doctrinal. You wanted to see the collection of data. There comes the probability sampling, non-probability sampling, simple random, stratified, systematic, convenience. All these concepts you can find easily on the web or whatever kind of the thing. You just have to focus on these aspects. Next comes the hypothesis. Hypothesis is a tentative statement which you will be giving before starting a research. So these hypotheses, testing, this particular null versus hypothesis errors, these are all very important when it comes to unit 2. Next one is research ethics related to plagiarism or plagiarism, authorship, consent, data fabrication or falsification. Related to this, what are the guidelines by the UGC, or what is the prescribed limit, what software will be used, all these things are very very important. Next one is thesis or article basics. So now you have written an article or a research paper, you wanted to cite certain things, what particular citation you wanted to use, or what is the structure you wanted to do. This particular blue book citation style will be there, oscola will be there, or APA will be there. What is the different type of thing? Author name will come first or the journal name will come first, whether you need to write on what date you have accessed that particular thing. All of this is very very crucial with regard to unit 2, that is related to your research aptitude. Next, the next one is related to unit 3. This is a comprehension. This is the most easiest part with regard to paper 1, that is related to comprehension. That means a passage will be given and some questions will be given. What repeats is the question style and not the theory. The same concept won't be given again, but what topics will be given is based on that passage only. So the questions may be based on main idea or central idea. For example, one extract of the paragraph is related to this particular unit of poverty elimination in India, or how well India can perform with regard to the developed nations, or some kind of thing is there. What is the main idea of central in the question will be there. Inference based questions might be there. Tone or assumption, what could be the assumption of the author from that particular paragraph will be there. What is the meaning of the context, vocabulary will be there. What is the particular term signifies in that particular thing. Statement and conclusion from the passage. So all of these things can be there from unit 3. Unit 3, there is no particular book which says okay, from this book the paragraph will be given. It is based on pure practice of the student or the learner, as the case may be. If you practice more, you could be scoring well with regard to unit 3. Unit 1, teaching aptitude, we have completed important topics. Unit 2, research aptitude, we have completed topics. Unit 3, we have completed this particular comprehension, what will be the most possible aspects where they could be asking the questions. Now comes the unit 4, which is related to the communication. So now I am communicating to you. So what could be the questions which can be asked under this subunit? So the first one is barriers to communication and how to overcome it. So that means now I am communicating through you through this particular YouTube or any kind of other type of this particular platform. What could be the barriers to this? If you suddenly lost the internet connection, or if your phone is dead, or if your this particular audio output is not proper, or your display is problem, so now I can't communicate to you properly, and how to overcome it. It is not related to the digital aspect alone. Now you are delivering something like me in a classroom, and some student is making noise, or some student is doing some kind of ruckus in the backbench. Now how to overcome those type of things also is very important when it comes to this particular barriers to communication. That is a part of the unit 4, that is communication. Next one is models of communication, SMCR or Berlow, Shannon Weaver basics. So these are the certain models which will be there with regard to communication, how to communicate and all, which you find easily in your web. Next one is types of communication: verbal, non-verbal, formal, informal, intra and interpersonal. So verbal means through usage of words and through usage of mouth. Non-verbal means by usage of sign. For example, if I have to say 5, if I show like this, that will be a non-verbal. Formal, informal, if you are conversing something in a business meeting or any kind of your interview, you will be formal, whereas if you talk to a friend, it will be informal, like that. All those type of things of communication also is very important. Next one is mass communication: media, ICT, social media impacts, basic concepts. So in this you need to say what is the different types of like, for example, if a politician or if a proper novelist want to deliver what he has researched or what is his message to a large section of population, what sort of media he will be using, whether he should use a newspaper or he should depend upon television or he should depend upon radio, like that the questions will be asked, right? The next one is classroom communication. It is based on feedback, listening, noise, interaction. So as I mentioned earlier, it is self-explanatory. You have delivered something and you wanted to know the feedback of that particular concept. So what you will be doing: feedback, listening, noise, interaction, how well you have to interact with the other student. That is also very important. Next one is unit 5, that is the mathematical reasoning and aptitude, preferably answered at the end. This is very, very important. Now you might get an intuition to answer this at the end, because you see some fancy mathematics and all, you think that you are having good knowledge of mathematics and all the formulas, whatever kind of thing. But my sincere advice is to have these particular questions answered at the end, otherwise it will eat your time. Out of the following things could be there: percentages, ratio, proportion and average can be asked. Profit and loss, simple or compound interest based on basic theories can be asked. Time and work, time, speed, distance, that questions will be asked. Number series, that is a missing term pattern. For example, 369 dash this particular 15. Now what is the missing? Every particular interval is having a difference of 3. 369 they have given, dash they have given, and they have given 15. So in this, what is the missing term? That is 12. So like the number series, missing patterns, and the simplification or approximation of something. So but my sincere advice is to have answered at the end. Next comes the unit 6, that is related to this logical aptitude, this concept. So logical reasoning, it is a huge scoring area if you are practicing standard forms. That means there are certain type of standard elements will be there, and if you are practicing more, you will score more. If you are not practicing and you are not proficient, please don't answer it in a hurry at the beginning, or else you will have to lose your marks. So the first one is syllogism. That is a logical argument using deductive reasoning, where a conclusion is drawn from two given statements, that is known as premises, assuming them to be true even if they contradict the reality. In this, what is the type of things usually will be there? For example, a statement is there: all birds can fly. The second statement follows: a penguin is a bird. The conclusion will be the penguin can fly, whether it is true or not. So what is the particular statement 1, statement 2, and what is the conclusion? Statement 1 reads all birds can fly. Statement 2 reads this particular penguin is a bird. Statement 3 conclusion is whether penguin can fly or not. So that is one type of thing. Second one is all, statement 1 reads as all men are mortal. So that means every particular man is having an end to his life. All men are mortal. Second statement reads as an Adam is a man. Adam is a man. So first statement reads all men are mortal. Second statement reads Adam is a man. Third statement conclusion can be Adam is mortal. Something like that. Okay, that particular thing you have to refer. Next one is related to Venn diagram based reasoning. Two type of circles will be there. Based on that, you need to have a practice of that. That is why very important, I just mentioned huge scoring if you practice the standard formats. Next one is statement assumption or statement conclusion, as I have told right now. Next one is fallacies, common named fallacies plus identification of the concept. So this is all theoretical part, I can't cover in this particular video, but anyhow you need to be knowing all of this. Next one is analogy, classification, coding, decoding. For example, A is written as 1, B is written as 2, C is written as 3. Then what E should be written? E should be written as 5. So coding, decoding, encoding, all this type of things also should be there as part of your unit 6. Next comes the unit 7, that is related to the data interpretation. you should avoid the calculation traps. This is very very important, because don't be in a hurry to solve everything, because it is impossible to score 50 out of 50, or in rare cases you can score. But with respect to these three units, what is the three units? Unit 5 mathematic part, unit 6 logical reasoning, unit 7 data interpretation. You need to be very 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 careful. Okay, in this unit what could be there? Table plus percentage, ratio comparison, bar graph or pie chart, highest or lowest, difference the growth, average cumulative factor from the given data, inference based data interpretation. It is based on less calculation but more reading. This is all time. These particular three units will consume your time a lot, so that is why you need to be very very careful. Next one, unit 8, is related to ICT. That is mostly based on the conceptual based. So what could be what you have to study before going to the examination? The internet basics, URL will be there, HTTP will be there, HTTPS. So hypertext text protocol, or this universal resource locator, what is the abbreviation, or when computers have started. So all of these things related to information communication technology is very very important with regard to this. So browser versus search engine. What is a browser? You are using several types of browsers. What is the difference between browser and a search engine? Okay, what is the cookies, what is a cache, like that. So that particular basics you need to know. Next one is the network basics, LAN, WAN, bandwidth. You will say Wi-Fi. What type of protocol will be there? WPA3 or WPA4. Malpractice, phishing. All this definition part also you need to be very sure. Next one is digital education initiatives. So this is very very frequently repeated concepts. Swayam is there, MOOCs is there, EPG Pathshala is there. These are the initiatives by the government of India so as to democratize the education. So all of these things also you should be knowing. That is very very important. Next one is MS Office basics related to the spreadsheets, presentations. So MS Word, what features you need to be using, what is the this particular basics related to MS Office, PowerPoint, Word document, and this particular Excel sheet, what features you need to be knowing. That can be asked in this particular unit. Next one is common abbreviations or terminology. As I have told you right now, they can ask you what is the difference what is the full form of MOOC, what is the difference full form of SWAYAM. Everything is having a full form. That abbreviation also you need to see. Next unit is related to people development and environment. In this, you can't study everything. You need to be doing a selective study. You need to cover the following things. First is related to the sustainable development or SDGs definition plus mapping. What activity will be considered under what heading of sustainable development? Second one is related to the pollution, air, water, soil, noise, causes plus control basics. See, the for law people, what is the major advantage of this is, anyway there is another unit on environment in your paper too. So if you study this particular thing properly, it will be helpful for your the other unit in your paper 2 law subject examination. Sustainable development goals is the first one. Pollution is the second one you need to see. Climate change or global warming, greenhouse gases, and all these impacts. What sort of impacts is there? What is the pollutant which is involved? That is very important. Next one is international environmental agreements. This is very 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 important, and it is a recurring thing. That means it was asked again and again. What is the type of climate change agreements is there? Kyoto protocol you will say, or all these things. You need to have a timeline of what activity and what sort of agreement is talking about what, Kyoto protocol is talking about what, and all these things. You're not United Nations, what it is talking. All of these things is very very important. The next one is renewable versus non-renewable energy. You should be knowing about what are the examples and what are the merits related to this particular thing. So this is all you need to study from unit 9. Unit 10, higher education system, mostly based on historical aspects plus policy plus bodies. So what are the important concepts with regard to this is NEP 2020, like as we are mentioning, what is the core idea behind this? And this is a mostly repeated concept. So you need to have a complete understanding of NEP 2020, whether law is feasible for NEP 2020 or whatever kind of thing. Next one is regulatory bodies and their roles. What is the role of UGC? What is the role of AICT, NAC, NIRF? Who does what? Bar Council of India is there. Pharmacy Council of India is there. What is the function? What sort of activities they will be doing? All these things will be very important when it comes to this unit. Next one is governance and administration accreditation. Now we all say no, NAC A plus plus categorized. Who will give accreditation? What is the autonomy? Like whether deemed universities are autonomous or they will be following certain type of rules and regulations of the government or not. What is the assurance quality which other institutes will be giving? All of these things is important. Next one is types of institutions: central, state, deemed, state, private. All this type of different type of university setup which will be there. And in this, historical aspects also can be asked. What is the different type of schools which was there in India, what started at what time, and then who is the particular person who has initiated that particular thing, who is the chancellor, who is the vice chancellor, who appoints all of this thing. All of this thing is very important. Next one is open and distance based learning. Basic distinction: what is the difference between open learning and distance based learning, whether any courses are exempted from that. For example, a person wanted to do a MBBS from distance, is it allowed? A person wanted to do a LLB, whether from distance it is allowed or not, like that. Next one is teacher education and professional development. So what is the teacher education and professional development means? For the improving quality of the teachers, what sort of activities the government will be taking, all of these things will be very very important. So with this we have come to the end of this particular syllabus. So my sincere advice is to neglect unit 5, 6 and 7 at the beginning of answering your question paper. Firstly, focus on comprehension, that is unit 4. Nextly, focus on teaching and research aptitude. Anyway, these type of unit wise categorization won't be there, but by seeing the concepts you can map what sort of concept is asked from what unit. So my sincere advice is to leave mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning and data interpretation till the end, and you start answering from questions from teaching aptitude, research aptitude, communication, then this particular information communication technology, people development and environment, and higher education system. Then you may go to the 5, 6, 7 units and the concepts related to that. So with this we have come to the conclusion of this video. If you have any queries or something, please drop a comment in the text box or the comment box as the case may be, so that if at all there is a time, I will try to come up with a video so that I can clarify the doubts. Anyway, this is just a blueprint of what can be asked, what are the important areas to focus on. Please remember that this is not an explanatory video and I have not explained anything. This is just an overview of what could be important for your examination. So please pause the video whenever any kind of unit is there and try to refer and self study yourself before going to the examination of that particular unit, so that you will have complete clarity and you will have confidence in answering this particular thing. Okay, in the next video we will try to meet up with another topic, and with this I am thanking you all for your time. Thank you so much.